Hello and welcome to Puppet 101. I'm your host, John Erikson, and today we're sitting down or standing up with an amateur puppeteer, Collin, who will talk about his interesting hobby, puppeteering marionettes. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So, for puppetry.
It seems like I've seen you somewhere before.
Yeah, I don't know, this is strange, like deja vu moment.
Right?
I don't really know. But
Well, it's glad that you're here. Yeah. You caught that red eye from New York.
yeah, it was a long trip.
It sure was. All right, so tell us about what you have here. What are we looking at?
So right here on the table, we have a very basic marionette puppet. A marionette puppet is a puppet that is controlled by strings, because there's hand puppets, shadow puppets, but marionette can be as simple as clumps of cloth tied to strings. You can get to this $1 million rigs that, like, in the movie Team America or whatever that one.
Yeah,
they were doing this $1 million rig to get all the facial expressions, but here we don't have that type of funding.
Right. Well, we can aspire to that. So what's the first step in this great process? How do you make this?
So for this puppet, it was very simple. You just tie a string together, tie a string to it, run it up to the control rod, and that's basically just a marionette, because you would normally, on a humanoid puppet, you would pinpoint more points. So on the arm, you would have it on the hand and the shoulder, and when you move the hand around, you get that arm movement and everything. You just pin it in the waist, you get that waist movement, but you don't have to go that fancy with marionettes, as you can see here. You can have just a single string.
Great. And what do you call this thing again?
This is called the control rod. This is where you control the puppet from. So you hold that in your hand, and when you go up, this is how you get all the movement.
Wow. So that's step number 2. How do you move it?
So step number 2, movement is very simple. You just bounce the control rod back and forth. So like on a hand puppet or on a humanoid puppet, the arms would be moving around, but on these ones, when you just go up in the directions and spin it, you get that bouncing motion. And it gives you that, you can get it to be like, one can be really happy and the other one's can be, calm, or you can get them all jostled
look at
up
that.
and
They're all hyped
angry.
up there, aren't they? It's like the puppet mosh pit.
Yeah, but you don't want to really do that because they get tangled up, and that's a whole nightmare.
I can imagine. Yes. So what about this expressing? What does expressing mean? How do you do that, and what is it?
With normal puppets, it's because you gotta, when a normal actor, you gotta use the face and movement for expression, but on marionettes, you have to kind of over-exaggerate with the movement. So like on this one, if I want to really show this one bouncing around, you gotta really just get them in there, show them riled up, or you got to really show the audience what's going on.
Right.
But on a normal humanoid puppet, you would have them, like, if they're waving out to the audience, you would have them wave out bigger, or if they're spinning, you would have them spin bigger motions.
Wow. Well, and that makes sense, because in a theatrical performance, you're performing to the whole house, and you've got to reach all those people in the back as well as the ones in the front row.
Yes.
Sure. So how did you get into this puppet business?
I took at River Falls. I took the puppetry class they were offering that year.
Wow. And what did you learn this and more?
I learned face casting, hand puppets, masks, and marionettes for the big ones we hit on.
Great. Now, have you used this in actual performance before?
For the class, I had to perform the one I custom made, but this one was used in the production of the Tempest.
Wow. Now, is that like that 80s hair metal band, the Tempest?
Close. It's more the one by William Shakespeare about the people getting stranded on an island. But
got it. Yeah, that was my second guess. Wow, that's incredible. So, how else are you able to aspire to use this great talent of yours?
Puppetry. They have shows at Disneyland, and there was a King Kong musical where they had this big robot puppet that 3 operators. One was doing like the waist and hands.
Well, great. That's all the time that we have for today, but thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
And tell us a little bit about, it's a great time, and thank you for sharing your expertise in puppet making. For Puppet 101, this is Eric Johnson, and stay tuned for next time when we're going to look at the possessed refrigerator puppet, Refrigerator.